When you combine narcissism with arrogance with intersectionality plus Disney, you get the fall of the House of Who. Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Shooty Gatwa's Doctor Who is posting record-breaking viewership numbers. Sadly in the wrong direction for the show, posting the lowest ever debut of a Doctor in the history of the show, and this week posting the lowest ever overnights of a Doctor Who episode since the show began in 1963. I have absolutely no idea what could possibly be putting audiences off. I'm falling down on my none whatsoever. This week, a meager 2.04 million tuned in to watch episode 3, which was the return of Stephen Moffat. Now, I absolutely believe that these ratings were reflective of the week before's episodes, which were quite frankly absolutely diabolical. I guess that Space Babies and Shouty Man in a Dress didn't quite do it for people. I mean, are we allowed to say that nowadays? You know, when you're dealing with a bunch of people that change their genders more often than they do the bloody underwear. Speaking of which, Jinx Monsoon said about people who are more interested in storytelling than progressive politics that they should not let the door hit you on the way out. Wow, what a wonderful thing to say about longtime fans of a show that's been going for over 60 years. They continue, because as we all know, they can't keep their mouths shut, egged on by a press, of course, that doesn't even care about these shows in the first place. I know a lot of people might not even watch this season of Doctor Who because it's taking such a decisively queer step. The mind boggles as to why. However, if they watch it, I think they'll see that we're just actors playing characters. And if they don't watch it, who needs them? I truly believe that for every fan we lose to transphobia, we're going to have 2 or 3 more coming in because they're excited for trans representation. Well, when you lose 600,000 viewers in 1 week, because of course episodes 1 and 2 were shown back to back, I think that's a clear indication that your audience does not give a toss about your representation. It gives more of a toss about good storytelling, something which was significantly absent in the first 2 episodes. But disdain for one's audience seems to be the only menu that's presented at this buffet of shit, which is called current day entertainment. After all, families are just looking for wholesome fun to sit down with and watch on an evening before they have to go back to school or work or get back into the mundane reality that is real life. A little bit of escapism helps with something like that. It's important. So before somebody's even taken on the iconic role of the Doctor, they come out with stuff like this, you can understand the trepidation that an audience would have.
I have just loved seeing the strides taken in terms of representation, and I think like there's a lot more that we can do. There's a lot being done.
Yeah,
there's a lot of wonderful things being done. But yeah, just seeing the diversity on screen is been great and pushing that.
Oh, thank God the far left invented women and black people in 2016. The world had been so boring up until then. But it's the utter lack of self-awareness which really gets me in the feels.
It's daunting taking on a role with a lot of history, which is where my anxiety has came from, because you want to do a good job, because this show lives in people's hearts, rightfully so, because it's a magical show and it is our show. It's a British show. It's part of our family, and you don't want to let the family down. But yeah, I was very nervous to kind of keep this beloved, sacred thing beloved and sacred.
Wow! It's as if Shooty actually understands what Doctor Who means to people, and yet at the same time doesn't seem to give a rat's ass what they actually put on the screen itself. I'm falling down on my
keep this beloved, sacred thing beloved and sacred.
Keep talking, Shooty.
Much pressure? Yes, yeah, but I feel like I can handle it.
Doctor Who lead Shooty Gatwa responds to critics of his casting. Go and touch grass, please, for God's sake. What happened to handling that pressure, Shooty? Pressed as to whether he had anything to say to those individuals who took issue with his casting, it should be noted that while some did object to his appearance in the role on racial and sexual identity grounds, an overwhelming majority of the criticism was based on the fear that Gatwa's existence as the first non-white Doctor would lead to the series curving away from sci-fi adventures in favor of hardcore socio-political preaching. The 15th Doctor declared, "Don't watch. Turn off the TV. Go and touch grass, please, for God's sake."
Much pressure?
Yes, yeah, but I feel like I can handle it.
But wait! There's more!
The Doctor has always walked into unknown situations and taken charge with authority. Historically, there's only really one demographic of people that are able to do that, and it's certainly not a woman. Oh, thank God you agree that Jodie Whittaker was dog shit as the Doctor. And it's certainly not someone black. No! Weird cell phone, but I'm here for it. Thank God things are changing, he concluded. My goodness me, it's as if you just took what people had said as a criticism, then berated them for it, then told them that's exactly what you're actually going to do, making their criticisms exceedingly valid. But apparently we're lucky to have Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor, because Russell T Davies was scared that we'd lost him to the role of James Bloody Bond. Dear Russell, what was it that made you think that he was suitable for that role?
I'm falling down on my
No. But there again, Russell T Davies also seems to have a bit of a lack of self-awareness nowadays as well.
We've all got a lot bolder with the messages and the conversations that we're opening up using TV, via TV. Where do you think we're at now? How important is that now?
I think we're in a good place. I think we're in a worrying place. I think we've got a government that's about to sell Channel 4 and has said that the BBC licence fee comes to an end in 2027. So, you can have all your television programmes sponsored by Cadbury's, but they won't be as good.
Doctor Who could get $100 million budget after New Deal. Doctor Who spin-off series are also anticipated following the House of Mouse acquisition. I figure most people would probably prefer you to be sponsored by Cadbury's than bloody Disney, but I think your ideologies align, don't they?
The showrunners were super welcoming. Meredith Roberts and our leadership over there has been so welcoming to not at all secret gay agenda. And so I feel like all that momentum that I felt, that sense of I don't have to be afraid to let's have these two characters kiss. Let's in the background. I was just wherever I could, just basically adding queerness to if you see anything queer in the show.
And herein lies the problem. You see, people are looking for entertainment and a good time and fun. They don't give a shit about your messaging, your queerness, your ideology. They want to relax after a hard week's work in front of a television which is providing them with entertainment. You are not the center of their universe. You might be the center of yours and your little bubble, but nobody else gives a shit about you. It's not about you. It's about your audience, the people that tune in and watch, or in Doctor Who's case, don't. Russell T Davies says end of BBC is undoubtedly on its way. No shit, Sherlock. Oh no, Sherlock was Stephen Moffat. Hey.
Have you ever shoved anything in your own ass? Of course, duh.
Don't you think there might be some correlation between the downfall of the BBC and its push to just far-left ideology, as opposed to doing what it's there to actually do, which is serve all of the British public, regardless of where they fall on the political or ideological spectrum? I think it's reflected in the Doctor Who ratings, particularly when you go so polarizing in the ideology that it is trying to push. However, the Radio Times might have a differing opinion to that. So why are the ratings so bad, Radio Times? Doctor Who's overnight ratings aren't the full story, but they still matter. I like the way they juxtapose the bullshit narrative that they're going to push right next to the actual reality of what's going on. As Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson began their first full season on Doctor Who, the show received close to its lowest overnight viewership ratings ever. Good news, they managed to achieve them this week, but as any fan knows, that's far from the full story. Of course, the 2.6 million and 2.4 million overnight rating figures, now joined by episode 3's 2.04 million, they will end up being just a fraction of the total audience, considering the episodes were first released on iPlayer a full 19 hours previously. Yes, because nothing screams a family show like airing it on your digital platform at midnight, but of course they have to do that because it's a requirement from Disney, because they're putting it up on their platform at that time. There are plenty of other reasons for those ratings too. Some have said the good weather meant people weren't inside watching Doctor Who live. You fucking what, mate? Some have blamed the month of May for being TV's dead spot. There are hundreds of reasons the ratings ended up as they are, some more impactful than others. Well, you managed to give 2 examples out of the hundreds there. The ratings for those who watched on iPlayer won't be out for a few more days, but I have no doubt they'll be big, especially if the 10 million figure for Gatwa's first episode, Christmas Special, The Church on Ruby Road, is anything to go by. Well, apart from the fact that what they just said there was an absolute lie. Ncuti's Christmas Special actually did 4.73 million overnight, with a 7-day consolidated figure of 7.26 million. However, it took 2 weeks for those consolidated numbers to come in, and all the other shows on Christmas Day on BBC One did it in 7, as it normally does, even ones which aired after the Doctor Who Christmas Special, which leads to the fact that the BBC most likely fudged the Doctor Who consolidated numbers, maybe even incorporating some Disney Plus numbers into that as well. Regardless, it is a far cry from the Radio Times claiming it did 10 million for what's 2.8 million or so between friends, eh? But what do you expect from somebody that can only get 23 likes on X from their Radio Times article? And that's one of the reasons why people don't even tune into mainstream media. They just can't stop lying to you. I'm willing to bet that the vast majority of people don't care that Ncuti Gatwa is black or gay, but what they do care about is how he portrays the Doctor, the actual important element of the show, the character that they want to enjoy the adventures in time and space with, not having ideology thrust upon them, not having the showrunner or the actors' lifestyles thrust upon them. There's a time and a place for that, and Russell T Davies himself has shown it with Queer as Folk, and it's a sin. Sometimes they get pushed aside for the family entertainment that's meant for everybody. Not everything has to have a message crammed in. Not everything has to be progressive. Not everything has to be ideologically charged. Not everything has to be about you. But when you're making entertainment, something that it absolutely must be is entertaining. I'll leave you with the cover of Time magazine because I think it absolutely 100% sums up exactly what Ncuti Gatwa thinks it's all about. See you in the next video. You take care. Bye for now.